Primetime News with Israel Lai.
Good evening, this is Joy News. At 8, my name is Israel Lai. Coming up in the bulletin, businessman Alfred Woyome currently standing trial for defrauding the state to the tune of 51 million Ghana cedis, expresses frustration with the pace at which the case is traveling. Also in the bulletin tonight, the Center for Democratic Governance, CDD, adds its voice to calls on the New Patriotic Party to rescind its decision to boycott the ongoing vetting of ministers designate. Kumasi police shoot dead 7 suspected armed robbers in 2 separate operations. In business, Motorway Authority VRA signs a $300 million deal to finance expansion of the Takoradi power plant. And in sports, Black Stars sent 3 past Niger in the last Group B match at the ongoing AFCON tournament. On the international front, 3 people have been arrested by the Brazilian police in connection with the fire that killed 231 people at a nightclub in Santa Maria. All these and more, plus the latest in showbiz, coming up shortly. In our very first story, the NDC businessman being tried for defrauding the state to the tune of 51 million Ghana cedis, Alfred Woyome, has voiced his frustration about the delay in pushing through with his trial. This was after the court once again adjourned proceedings over the failure of the prosecution to produce its witnesses.
Principal State Attorney Cynthia Lamte asked for the case to be adjourned for the 3rd time, claiming the state had managed to secure a witness, but due to circumstances beyond their control, could not be available in court to testify. She therefore prayed the court to adjourn proceedings to Tuesday, February 12. Counsel for Alfred Woyome, Safo Boabeng, did not oppose the request, and so the trial judge, Justice Ajet Nassam, granted the request, adjourning the case to February 12 at 9 a.m. Alfred Woyome, who rarely speaks to the media, addressed journalists from selected radio stations, lamenting the toll of the case on his business as a result of the seeming stalemate.
For more than 1 year, I've never worked. My companies don't work. My accounts have been frozen. The basic rules within these accounts where we can get sustenance, we can even get. My workers know a lot of people are out, some are in, living very difficult lives. And then you continue, you come over here, you've deceived the whole nation, and you continue to come over here that you are looking for witnesses. Do you bring people to court before you start searching for witnesses? Do you bring people to court? Why will you do that? You can't just bring people to court and be fetching for witnesses. I think that the state has to put itself in order, and they should face me here in the court here. They should provide everything. They should be assisted with the opposition completely. Before this matter, the last parliament, the 2 parliamentary, the minority, made 2 press conferences. They were among the 30 people who abrogated the contract in the first place in the cabinet. So they are also witnesses. So if the state cannot, they must contact them. And they should bring them, subpoena them. They are using that tactics, including Nanado, every one of them. The issue is that they must prosecute this case and understand that I have a fundamental right.
Woyome is standing trial for defrauding by false pretense and causing financial loss to the state. He pleaded not guilty and was granted a 20 million Ghana cedi bail with 3 sureties to be justified.
Now, the latest body or group of persons calling on the New Patriotic Party and its members in Parliament to rescind their decision to boycott the ongoing ministerial nominee vetting and other government activities, a civil society group, Center for Democratic Development. Deputy Director and Head of Research and Programs, Franklin Odro, told Joy News that as patriots, the national interest should be paramount. He added that the minorities' participation at important national assignments will deepen their patriotism and also enhance parliament effectiveness.
The head of research and programs at CDD Ghana describes the party's justification for the boycott as unhealthy.
Well, I think it's a weak explanation. It's a weak explanation from my perspective. he's a president. Even if he's a president for 1 day or 2 days or 3 days, he's still a president. I think it's not healthy for our democracy. We are increasingly having what I may call a polarized political society. My humble opinion is that it's a decision that will not serve the country well, and also I think it undermines the notion of representation. The whole social contract that exists between citizens and elected officials is being undermined, because it's the minority that can raise key critical questions of government actions, and it's important that they are part of the vetting process.
The NPP has so far refused to oblige several such pleas. In a response to a similar appeal from the Ghana Bar Association last Friday, NPP chairman Jacob Ichebilamte said the party does not intend to compromise what he describes as its principled stance.
I think, at best institutions can implore upon them and urge them, appeal to them for them to see the national picture, the bigger picture, the national interest rather than the party interest. We may have a short-term political advantage or interest, but in the long term, the damage is for the entire country and the democracy that we are all hoping to defend and improve upon. And therefore, if they can go back and sit and reconsider their decision and ask their members of parliament to join, it will be good for the country. After all, we have a saying in our culture, Sankofa is Yinchi. If you make a decision and then you reflect on it and you go back to it, it's better.
Franklin Odro, however, believes institutions such as the CDD cannot give up. He also had some views on the ministers designates whose vetting the NPP insists on boycotting. Mr. Odro says President Mahama must necessarily explain the rationale for some of the appointments.
But if you're creating a new portfolio, I think it's important for Ghanaians to know how you are using that discretionary powers, because the president, as you know, the constitution gives the president of this country, any president, some discretionary powers to appoint ministers, including appointing ministers of state. Now, it is important that discretionary powers come with some kind of rationale or basis. So some kind of job specification, some kind of understanding of the functions of these ministries, so that citizens can appreciate more why you want to do this. But if appointments just come without any basis, any justification, then it creates doubt in the minds of the people whether this is being done genuinely or not. So look, I think it's about time that both the executive and the legislature and Ghanaians sit down to identify what kind of ministries do we need.
Despite all the wrangling, however, CDD Ghana says it remains optimistic the country will continue to hold together.
Now, 12-year-old Amamatu Atimbre, who was swept away in the main Nima storm drain during heavy rains Saturday afternoon, has still not been found. The uncle Atimbre Ayimbobo, with whom the girl lives, tells Joy News the family has been asked to perform some rituals before caretakers will be able to enter the Odo drain, which links the Nima drain, to search for the girl. According to him, a point in the Odo drain has been blocked with barbed wire to trap rubbish and prevent it from moving on. So they suspect the girl could be there. Amamatu was said to be bathing together with her friends close to the edge of the drain when the flowing water forcefully carried her away. Joy News checks with the Kutubabi police station revealed the family had reported the incident. However, the district commander told Joy News there was nothing they could do at the moment and were relying on information from the family to proceed with investigations. Now, elsewhere, police in Kumasi have shot 7 armed robbers during 2 separate operations on Saturday on the Irian-Chanta-Mansu Road and Mampon stretch in the Ashanti region. The police suspect the robbers, who are largely of Fulani extraction and have been attacking and robbing Chinese miners and other people in and around the Mansu Nkwanta, have been robbing and attacking people in and around the Mansu Nkwanta area. Mohammed Nuruddin has filed this report.
Over the past few weeks, the Ashanti Regional Police have received reports on armed men attacking and robbing Chinese miners and other people around Manson Kwanta area. They subsequently intensified patrols to ensure that criminals were put at bay. On Saturday evening, one of the patrol teams received a distress call that a group of robbers numbering about 9 had blocked the road between Behenisiase and Kofrum on the Anwianchanta Manso Road. The team proceeded to the area where they encountered the robbers in a gun battle, resulting in the death of 6, whilst about 3 others managed to escape.
About 9, 3 were able to escape, and then 6 were dropped.
In the second incident, a group of 4 highway robbers stopped a senior police officer in plain clothes, and the ensuing crossfire left 1 dead, and the other 3 escaped with gunshot wounds. Police believe those who escaped did so with gunshot wounds and are therefore appealing to hospitals and other health centers to report suspected gun injuries promptly to police.
Those we encountered on the Anwiankwanta Road, Anwiankwanta Manso Road, some of them are injured. So we are telling all medical facilities that if anybody should come there with gunshot wounds, they should let us know so that quickly we can get them and then put them before court for necessary action.
2 AK-47 rifles, about 27 live ammunition, a Beretta pistol with 8 live bullets, 2 knives, talisman, brown powdered substances suspected to be cocaine, among others, were on them. The bodies have since been deposited at Komfanochi Teaching Hospital morgue. The police commander disagreed with public criticism that the police should not be shooting to kill armed robbers.
We wouldn't sit down for armed robbers to take the people for a ride. We wouldn't sit down for armed robbers to terrorize people with impunity. If you tell me I should arrest them and put them before court, I think it will be foolhardy on my part to let my boys go and arrest people who are firing. If the people are firing, we have to respond with firing.
Mohammed Nuruddin's reports for Joy News.
You're watching the Primetime News here on the Joy News channel. We'll be back with more stories, but we do apologize for the rough images, or disturbing images. Now, road tolls are paid by users so government can maintain those roads and keep them motorable. Despite the uproar that greeted a sharp increase in tolls in 2010, most motorists have long adjusted and taking it in their stride. 2 years after the increase, Gifty Ando Apia is questioning how the funds collected from road tolls are being managed.
You would lose count if you stood and wait at the Motorway toll booth to find out how many vehicles use the road in a day. The road never rests. Based on the magnitude of this task, it requires regular maintenance, the reason for which tolls are taken here every day. Saloon vehicles pay 50 pesos, 4x4 and vehicles which fall within its category pay 1 cedi, whilst heavy trucks pay about 2 cedis 50 pesos. Reaching information on how toll funds are managed is perhaps the most daunting of tasks on a normal day. But given these amounts and on a minimal assumption that about 1,000 vehicles ply this road daily, the total sum of money generated in a week should be able to easily maintain the road. Potholes this deep are what commuters of the Accra-Tema motorway have had to settle for. There are no other shorter options in reaching their destinations. In fact, the other options are worse. which makes this the best of options. So what really is the problem? Is someone shirking his or her responsibilities? The amount of money raked in here should obviously make a difference, all things being equal. From a heavily manual system where accountability was difficult, the system is now fully automated. Angel Data and Telecoms does the collection on behalf of government, of course, for a commission. That aside, the tolls were reviewed upwards, meaning some more money for government. Each ticket bears the name of the particular attendant responsible for the transaction. It has a date, a place, and even the time of transaction. With this mechanism, accountability should not be called into question, although there have been few unverified reports of irregularities. The Accra-Tema Motorway started operation in 1965. Undoubtedly, billions are accrued from here, but the road remains a dangerous transportation alternative. These are a few of the potholes our cameras captured. There are more. Most importantly, the motorway is one of many thoroughfares in the country which have seen little or no rehabilitation over years. A major cause of accidents and loss of lives. Having to share the road with these hawkers, the question is, are the people of Ghana getting value for money? For security reasons and lack of authorization, manager at one of the Accra-Tema Motorway toll booths, Fred Asiedu, could not let go of any information as to how much is made here. At the Ghana Highway Authority, we were told to put in a formal request in the form of a questionnaire. Director of Public Affairs, N.B. Kwamo, said it would take about a week to get the process through. Joy News will follow up and bring you an update as to where the toll revenue really goes. For Joy News, Gifty and Dwapia.
The recent death of a 7-year-old girl on the N1 highway prompted controversy and mounted pressure on the authorities responsible. Many called for the construction of footbridges on the stretch to save pedestrians who cross the highway at the peril of their lives. This has prompted the Chief Executive Officer of the Millennium Development Authority, MIDA, to issue a statement detailing the plan of action for the construction of Phase 2 of the N1 highway project. Here is the aspect that touched on footbridges. Now, it suggests, and that should be coming up on the screen probably any time soon. But whilst we wait for that, we may just have to... Okay.
In a rejoinder signed by the CEO of the Millennium Development Authority, Martin Eson Benjamin, Phase 2 of the N1 highway project will see the construction of additional interchanges at Abekan La Paz, Jolu, Kwashiman, Nyameche and Awoshi intersections. It is to be expected that these interchanges will take into account additional arrangements that will facilitate crossings by all pedestrians. The statement went on to say that the consultants responsible for the road design selected and advised MIDA on the location of the 6 permanent footbridges. These locations were chosen to avoid any conflict with the areas earmarked for future construction of the interchanges at Abekan La Paz, Jolu, Kwashiman, Nyameche and Awoshi intersections. The spatial demands for interchanges in the Phase 2 explain the apparent large gaps between the permanent footbridges currently on the road. He added that consequent to the completion of works under Phase 1, a safety audit was carried out by the Ghana Highways Authority, of which requests have been made by MIDA to government for additional pedestrian footbridges and the fencing of the median. These requests have been studied by government and will be attended to by GHA, who currently have custody of the road. Some of these works have already begun and involve the fencing of the median to stop indiscriminate crossings by pedestrians. The decision with regard to the new locations for the additional pedestrian walkways does not, however, involve MIDA, whose project, Phase 1, was completed and handed over to GHA in February 2012. These interchanges have already been designed and are merely awaiting funds from the government of Ghana.
Now, there are reports that 2 persons have sustained gunshot wounds in Yendi. They were hit by warning shots, allegedly fired by a combined police-military team that raided the Abudu Regent's Palace in the early hours of today. The victims, according to the assemblyman for Gagbini electoral area, Abubakar Nachingna, they are undergoing treatment. He identified them as Hadi Gonja and Afa Shani, brother of the Yendi constituency MPP chairman. According to him, there have been security reinforcement and residents are living in fear. Meanwhile, the Member of Parliament for Yendi, Honorable Alhaji Mohammed Habib Tijani, has called for calm in the area. Hundreds of Abudu youth reportedly massed up at the palace to resist any security infractions. It is unclear yet what necessitated the raid, but information gathered from the community says the move is to prevent the Abudu royals from climaxing this year's Damba festival, which comes off on Thursday, January 31. Now on the line now we have Mohammed Hashim, he's correspondent who is bringing us some updates. Good evening to you, Mohammed. What's new on the ground?
Hello, good evening.
What's new on the ground there?
Welcome has returned to Yendi after this morning in to provide of the Bulletin. According to some eyewitnesses, the incident happened after the security in Yendi came up warning that the only place for residents of the area to celebrate the Damba festival is that of it can only be done at the Bewak Palace. But this information did not go on well with the Abudu royal family, especially the youth over there. For them, they were demonstrating on the street just to register their protest over the decision of the security over there. For them, they believe that in as much as they are also the Gombes, they have the right to celebrate the Damba festival. And denial of them to celebrate the Damba festival is an infringement on their fundamental human rights, according to some of the youth over there that I spoke to.
Okay. Right, thank you very much. That was Mohammed Hashim reporting from Yendi. Now, despite improvement in access to potable water over the last decade in almost every part of the world, there are billions who still have to grapple with the problem in several communities and countries. Adenta here in Greater Accra is one such place. Though residents have complained bitterly over a problem they have lived with for well over a decade, not much has changed, even with the several changes in government. And of course, while the situation is worse for some people, for others, it provides an opportunity for lucrative business. Our reporter, Patricia Gasu, went to town today and has come through this report.
The Adenta water problem has survived various governments with very little improvement as hundreds struggle to get water for daily domestic use. Some of them told me their taps mostly dry up for months and they rely solely on commercial water tankers for their water supply.
So they're more than me better now almost 5 years. Oh, pensu, I don't want to call a hand quan. Even crapple tanks, I'll be than soon. I do 1 week time and sana when you soon be a big gum. Now, it's 1 year, there's 20, neck 150. But it's 1 year, then there's 20. And a crowd gum granyama.
Nancy, your wedding, Metiamran here. Now, baby, I told you, you're quite nibby. Then a pim qua summaries cotor, Robert Cassia, my tonsiagum, a comedian. Then buy a crama brands and a minion soon be a or they require a mammy. The when a moment soon went to my phone when you would mamma and then soon phone in your bee.
And so, dear, I had a brown soon who are hassing. If it's a hassing, say, a do, and I maybe crown one hassing in Suno, ye tomb. Ah, hassing, ye what down Tina, ye to me and Kakra. To add in soon, your problem power.
The tankers, on the other hand, see it as a lucrative business. They move from far and near in search of water and charge according to your location to supply. According to some who spoke to Joy News, they supply water to residents every day and charge between 15 to 30 Ghana cedis.
You could buy water, but you better open so to the bet me the amount 25 and 300, 250, 250. The last 300, last 30 Ghana something. Sana de, and 25 Ghana. Obi one ma onya ha no de ko baby ton. And do share you charge according to distance no.
E bu no ha. E be yet me cost die. Ana oyarifa. Say anya bi o ma na yakọ region. O mo mu ton kra yet me bu mo 3 cedi ana 4 cedi. We are the court tema oyarifa ayi mensa. Valley View. Yet we give say 180, 120. And 140 and 50 cedi. Yeah, it depends. This is petrol you use. Yeah, I'm not here to return, sir.
Attempt to find a solution to the perennial water shortage facing residents of Adenta, a suburb of Accra, has been a major problem for years. It doesn't look like a solution is anywhere near. For Joy News, Patricia Gasu.
The Motorway Authority has signed a $330 million deal with the Abu Dhabi national energy company TAQA to finance the expansion of the Takoradi 2 power plant in Ghana. The expansion project will mean that the existing gas-fired plant can produce about an extra 100 megawatts of energy without requiring additional fuel. The extra energy will be sold to VRA under the terms of a revised 25-year power purchase agreement. The plant was recently converted from primarily an oil-fired one to one fueled by natural gas as part of a considered effort within Ghana's power generation industry towards cleaner burning fuel. The $330 million project financing is being provided by the International Finance Corporation, a member of the World Bank Group, and a consortium of international development finance institutions. The Takoradi 2 plant is Ghana's first independent power project and currently represents approximately 15% of the country's installed capacity. The engineering, procurement and construction contract with an approximate value of $260 million was awarded to a consortium comprising Mitsui & Co. Japan and KEPCO ENC Korea in 2011. Construction started in 2012 following cabinet and parliamentary approvals by the government of Ghana and the signature of financing agreements in July 2012. The expanded plant is scheduled for commissioning in 2015. The government is investigating claims that a cargo of gold from Ghana has been seized by port authorities in Turkey. The consignment said to be payment to the Iranian government for an unnamed service rendered to Ghana has since been released. The president's spokesperson, John Jinapo, has, in an interview with Joy News, said the reports cannot be true. The cargo, which was reportedly aboard a Turkish airline plane from Accra, was said to have been intercepted at Turkey's Ataturk airport on January 1 because it was without the necessary documentation. But there are conflicting reports about the exact country of origin and the said gold valued at $80 million. Chief Executive Officer of the Minerals Commission, Ben Ayi, whose outfit has been investigating the situation, told Joy News information they have gathered so far suggests the gold could not have originated from Ghana.
When this came to our attention, I think the second week of January, we had a discussion with our minister then, and it was agreed we should check up to find out whatever information we can. So we first went to the Turkish embassy, since it was said the gold had been confiscated in Turkey. The Turkish embassy told us they had no idea about this. They were going to investigate. We went to the airline, and they also had no idea about this. But we didn't want to stop there, so we decided let's go to Bank of Ghana as well, because to export anything, and gold included, from Ghana, you need to have filled a Form A4, which alone would authorize you to send anything out of the country. Customs would not entertain any export without that. And Bank of Ghana was completely oblivious of it. They had no idea about it. We said, well, maybe some of our gold buyers may have been involved. So we called up the major buyers, including PMMC, to find out whether they probably had a shipment which had faced this problem. And none of them had anything like that. So we then decided maybe let's even look at the trends of gold shipments reported to us to see if there have been any major deviations. Again, we looked at the trends. There was no change whatsoever compared to what had happened from the beginning of the year. So the only thing I can report is that having checked all these sources, we don't have any evidence that gold from Ghana, if indeed there was any such amount of gold. Talking about 1.5 metric tons of gold, that's a lot of gold, 1,500 kilos of gold. And we would have noticed it if it had gone out unofficially.
The National Communications Authority has lifted its ban barring telecoms firm MTN from selling new SIM cards or adding to its subscribers. The ban was imposed following what it says was a continuous deterioration in MTN's service quality despite numerous engagements with the company over customer complaints. The NCA in a statement said it is satisfied with improvement in network quality and the key performance indicators since the directive. It says it has also engaged with MTN to define and apply measures to improve customer experience. MTN is the largest telecom service provider in the country with over 11 million subscribers. Telecom operators have come under fire for some time now over the quality of service. The situation has, however, not improved much despite the NCA's sanctions so far. Next up, we bring you some smart investment tips.
Good evening and welcome to the sports segment of the News at 8 on Joy News on Multi TV. After an impressive 3-0 win over the Menace of Niger earlier today, newly appointed captain of the Black Stars, Asamoah Gyan, has called on Ghanaians to continue supporting the team in its hopes of annexing the Continental Trophy, which has eluded it for 31 years. Ghana now leads Group B with 7 points, followed by Mali, which has 4 points. Mali drew 1-1 earlier today with the Leopards of DR Congo. The Stars will next play Cape Verde, which is ranked 23rd in Africa, and a quarter-final game on Saturday. The game has been described as a crucial one for the Stars, as it's their only ticket to progressing in the tournament and realizing their dreams of securing the trophy. The Blue Sharks of Cape Verde have showed tremendous form at the ongoing Nations Cup, which is their maiden appearance. And that's all we have for you by way of sports. Up next is Showbiz.